Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, episode 27, sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I'm your host, Kiana Skills, and I have Aquanette Cooper with me today, co-hosting.
Hello, hello.
Woo, child, the streets are talking and the people are buzzing like a bee, saying some folks are real bothered and big mad out here in these streets.
Oh, no.
Today, we are about to find out why people are so bothered and so pressed. Child, I hear they are so pressed, they don't even need an iron to get those wrinkles out their clothes. Hello, Aquanette. How you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. Pretty good. Let's jump right into this episode and see if we can help our listeners with these bothered people while they remain unbothered by the imaginary smoke that is created by others' insecurities.
Oh my goodness.
You ready?
Okay.
Woo! For some reason, people feel threatened by your success and they become big mad. I'm talking about so mad that the sight of you irritates them. Woo, child. But hold up. It does not stop there. They have even gotten bothered. I mean, real bothered. When you take to social media to announce another successful business venture you're about to launch, or the ones you just completed. This makes their insecurities so bothered, which causes them to project them onto you and causes them to dismiss your talents and will go as far as to stop you from making a bag if they could. It is not that they do not want to see you succeed. Of course they do, y'all. They just don't want to see you doing better than them.
This is true.
Because, baby, when you surpass their idea of what they have where you should be, that's going to cause big drama. Y'all know that big smoke, that imaginary smoke, and you sitting back like, what? I'm just out here working, doing me. This happens in all aspects of life. You can find it in the workplace, at home, and even in your relationships with others. Just like there are people rooting for you, there are others waiting for your downfall. Often people cannot stand the success of others. They would rather ignore accomplishments and highlight mistakes than celebrate what you have given. The question is why? People do not want to see you succeed because it causes envy. Now, let me tell y'all something. Not all envy is bad. There is a benign envy, which pushes people to work harder based on seeing someone else's success. There is a malicious type of envy, which is angry, resentful form of envy that most people practice. Say it ain't so, girl. Say it ain't so. I wish I could, but I can't. Aquanette, have you ever been bothered by the success of someone else?
No, I can't say that I have. If anything, it may have been the benign envy that you're talking about. Like, well, you know what, they're doing it, I can do it too. So
yes.
That's the perspective that I've taken.
And that is the perspective that I had like years ago. Most of you don't know that I have written a book, The Ultimate Betrayal. Yes, I am a self-published author. But anyway, looking at Master P on Teen Summit, Lord, I just dated myself. That's the kind of benign envy I had. I was like, if he can do it selling CDs out of the trunk of his car, what can little old me do? So that's what I did. I said, I'm going to write a book. And
you did.
Yes, I did. The Ultimate Betrayal by Kiana Bradford. Yes, I was Bradford.
And see, that's a form of admiration also.
Yes.
I like that.
So, yeah, I don't too much move, with that jealous type of envy.
Right, yeah.
Because I stay to myself, move around, skirt around, because I be working.
And we all know we have our own lane, too.
Yep.
So that's
Most
the confidence that we're aware of.
Yes. I tend to believe people have a perception of who you are, and people will cut you down if you decide to exceed anyone's expectation.
This is true.
The crazy thing about people's perception is that they change like the seasons change. They can see you as an equal one day, then they can see you beneath them the very next day. Woo, the shade of them palm trees, baby. The shade of them palm trees. Once you accomplish the very thing they said you could not, they will start to believe that you think you are better than them. Listen to Land. Y'all know I'm speaking the truth. Somebody better say, she ain't lying, child. She ain't lying.
She ain't lying, child. She ain't lying.
The best you can do is be aware of the motives of others. Ask yourself if these people are acting in your best interest. If not, make sure you do not pay attention to the negative comments and do what you were called to do, regardless of your success or your failures. There might be the chance that you will not be able to remove these people from your life because the circles you share with them are entwined, but you can put a buffer around their thoughts and what you feel is your calling.
Yeah.
Keep working hard, keep making mistakes, and keep being great, and remain unbothered, and do not become unhinged, and never come down off your chariot to engage in the throwing of tomatoes with that kind of insecure, intimidated, light dimming type of pressed and bothered people. The thing is, success can make people feel uncomfortable. When they see someone else achieving their goals and making strides in their career or personal life, it can bring forth feelings of inadequacy or jealousy. And unfortunately, not everyone is able to set those feelings aside and genuinely celebrate your success or to collaborate with you, let alone apologize to you for projecting their insecurities on you. I said a mouthful right there.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Now, allow me to shift gears for a minute as we tap into saying sorry versus giving an apology. First off, let us start by understanding the difference between an apology and saying I'm sorry. Now, we have all said sorry or apologize for something that we did, but are these two words the same, or do they have different meanings? Since both of these words represent regret, we tend to use them interchangeably, but while doing so, sometimes I believe we're doing them, using them in the wrong way, I should say. Things that make you say, how do I use those words correctly? So, Aquanette, is there a difference between an apology and saying you sorry, or are the words used interchangeably?
I believe they're the same. And this is something that I actually decided to look up one day. And I mean, ultimately, Google says one is used as a noun and the other one is a verb. So saying you're sorry is the verb or the action of an apology. So I don't think there's a difference. I think somewhere along the lines, society and certain cultures have decided that they didn't maybe get the apology that they wanted, or it didn't sound like the person was sincere. And so maybe from that point, maybe that's when, the terms got a little out of context. Because I have had people actually say, well, no, you don't say you're sorry because that means you knew what you were doing. What? And that's, I hadn't heard that before. And so I was taught that they were interchangeable. But there are people that do believe, like, you don't say sorry, you say I apologize.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it depends on how you look, or your perspective. I know we use that word a lot on this podcast, but it boils down to the perspective of the person. And I was sitting here thinking about it again. I was like, yeah. And you see,
but it's the same to me. But like
that's
you
what
say,
I was gonna say. At first, I thought it was the same until we started talking. I was like, well, yeah, and I can kind of see.
And to me, like, I've had people apologize to me. It doesn't matter. I've had people say I'm sorry. I just want them to know what and why they're apologizing.
Right. Because people who have been hurt or humiliated often hope for an apology. Going to back what you said, they may hope that an apology from the person who caused them harm will restore dignity, trust, and a sense of justice. Whether you are requesting an apology or considering giving one, it is important to realize that a thoughtful apology can mend those broken relationships, while a thoughtless apology may cause further conflict. So, Aquanette, when should an apology be given, or what warrants an apology?
Well, I believe that an apology should be given like as soon as the person knows that there's an issue. So sometimes it may take years before people know that there's an issue. Now, I think it's really situational, but the minute that you see like someone's, I guess, demeanor is a little different, you may want to just check in with them, because sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes you have no idea at all, you know, that you may have hurt someone's feelings, or vice versa. So especially like you said, if you're going to be in communication with that person, or, you know, you have to be around that person because you're in the same circle, it is something that you would, you know, just be kind. I mean, not everybody's kind and thoughtful, but at the same time, as soon as you know that there's an issue and you value that relationship or that rapport, you should go ahead and do it then. And like I said, sometimes it may be years. It may be a whole year. I had somebody do that to me once. I was like, wow, it was a whole year.
A whole year.
Oh, yeah.
Did you even remember the scenario?
Oh, I absolutely did, because I'm sensitive.
Because I was like, a whole year.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely did. But, you know, like I said, people are, you know, we get caught up in our lives and our way of doing things. And, you know, we get caught up in our own perspective. But, you know, all it takes is, you know, a person not answering your calls or answering your text messages, and then you may realize, well, something happened. I don't know what it was. And the interesting thing is that whole year went by and the apology was exactly what happened today.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't like they didn't forget it. They were just, I guess they had a bad day. And they weren't like, I know we haven't talked for a little while and I hope everything's okay. I'm not sure what. It was, no, I'm sorry. I know I did this, and this.
So they were fully aware of the situation.
Yeah, they were. So, but like I said, even in that situation, maybe it could be up to a year. But, you know, life goes on.
I mean, it does. Life does go on. Like this topic is, you could stay big mad about it, or you can move on.
You can move on.
Or you can waddle in that hurt. What you gonna do?
Yeah, move on.
So for a year, you gonna stay big mad?
No.
Right.
I took it for what it was. And you know me, I have to analyze and absorb. So, listen, 2 days later, I was just like, you know what? They got some other stuff going on. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And I just moved on.
And sometimes it is not really about you.
No.
It's about, so like I was saying earlier, somebody's insecurities projected on you.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
And you like, what?
Right.
It's like getting hit by a stray bullet.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I was like.
Strays.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, wait a minute, where is this coming from? And I remember in the conversation, when I noticed like the conversation was going left, I was like, okay. I said, did I say something wrong? Have I done? Well, you know what you're doing. Oh, I do.
Okay.
Oh, wow. And I've had people do that before, but again, I just said, well, here we go again. Let me, let them know it's not my intention to make them feel uncomfortable. I was just checking. Because again, at this point, I actually had called them to check on them. And they were upset about something I had no clue was going on, but they thought I knew.
Oh,
isn't that crazy? Just because of what they heard through other people. And so in the situation, I didn't even know that person was talking to other people, but it was just weird. It because I'm just like, I don't even know what you're. Yes, you do.
So was it something that you did? Like,
yeah.
It was something, or they didn't just project insecurity. It was really something.
It was something that was happening that I was not aware of with a mutual person.
Okay, but it had something to do with you, or
somebody came into town to visit me.
Okay,
and they were upset that I didn't let them know that our mutual friend or mutual person came into town. I was like, I didn't know that was coming, and I didn't even know like.
They wanted you to be the spokesperson of the person's whereabouts.
I guess so. That's what it was. I just remember thinking like, no, I didn't know that they were coming. Yes, you did. No, what? No, it was just really confusing.
Okay, because that's what I was trying to say. I was like, what was the scenario that made him?
Right, and I had actually just gotten out of like major surgery, so I still had like what's it called?
You were still on those meds.
Yeah, the meds. I mean, literally, it was like 2 days after surgery. So I'm in pain, number one.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, am I saying stuff wrong? Because I know, I've been in the hospital.
You know what? I thought about it and I came to the conclusion that there is no universal answer to that question of when an apology is warranted. It is better to base our decision, how can I put this? Whether or not to apologize by each circumstance that happens.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or the scenario?
Situational.
Situational, that's the word I'm looking for. Acknowledging fault and accepting responsibility for causing the hurt to someone allows us to meet others' expectation.
Right.
But like I said, you had to wait a year. That's why I was saying I don't really know, because it just depends on the situation. And if the person is ready to apologize or admit to the fault.
And that's another thing. Like, I wasn't waiting. I just said, I don't know what happened. I've been in the hospital. Like, I didn't have capacity to absorb whatever it was they were going through. And I remember I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone now, because I just was, making sure you were, because it had just like snowed really bad.
Ooh.
Like that. And some people didn't have electricity. Some of my other friends had called and they were like, hey, we're just making sure that you have water. And so I was like, you know what? I probably should call this person. I didn't expect that.
And you wasn't expecting. You was just like, okay, let me call and check on, make sure everybody's good.
Right. That's where my mind was.
You had good intentions. You didn't know you was walking into the fire.
Had no clue. And then to find out later, they weren't even in the city at that time.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, this is kind of bizarre. But again, like you say, it is situational. At the same time, don't hold your breath, because again, you kind of have to understand, if you don't know what's going on or why somebody's angry with you, more than likely it's something else going on with them if you're not intentionally, trying to give them a hard time.
Right.
So I felt like in the depths of my soul, in my spirit, I was like, I hope I didn't do or say anything. I was like, no, I've been in the hospital. I couldn't have done anything. So from that point, you just have to move on. Like you say, because I know some people, they'll it's a grudge. That's what I'm trying to say. I think some people will wait on the apology and hold the grudge. I don't have time. It's too many other things going on.
Yep. But let me tell you this. Now, apologies really can be thought of as super glue of life. Think about it. Because super glue repairs things. So it's going to mend and repair the brokenness of the relationship. See, I told y'all I become a brain right here.
Yeah, I
told y'all that's a gem, people. Yeah. So I'm going to say it again, because that's a good little gem. Apologies really can be thought of as the super glue of life.
Right.
Because they can repair the brokenness and the wrongdoing of the one who is doing the apologizing. I'm going to let that marinate for a minute.
I like that, though.
I'm going to let that just marinate.
Repair and mend. I like that. Yeah. The Gorilla Glue.
Because when I thought about it, I kept on saying, like I tell people all the time, when I'm going through how I'm going to do an episode, I have to let the episode resonate with me and be like, where do I want to go with this? And then it's always, I'm like, what gem? Because I'm about dropping a gem. Like, what can I drop? And I was like, super glue holds things together.
Yes.
What can you make with super glue? Like, how can you incorporate this into? And I was like, bing. That's the light bulb y'all going out. I don't know if the light bulb say what I just say, bing. But anyway,
it's ready. That's what that means.
It's ready. It was ready. So I said, that's what I can tell the people, because I always want to be able to tell y'all some good gems. So that's a good gem for the day. Because apologies, y'all, they really go a long way to showing concern, to show that you care about the relationship, about the person that you want to make amends with. We have to start thinking about that, because oftentimes we don't. Now, was there ever a time that you were expecting an apology and you never received it?
Oh, yes. Yes, in my younger days.
And tell us about that, and how did that actually make you feel?
It's actually stressful, especially if you know that you're going to be in communication with that person on a daily basis. Yes. So I had a coworker once, and, they did some things that I just thought were just offensive. That's what I'll say. We'll use that word, offensive.
Okay.
And this coworker was also somebody that I knew outside of work. So I was really just kind of like, well, were they trying to do that just to like you say, dim my light because maybe they felt, I had gotten outside of the box they created for me. And yeah, that person never apologized. And eventually I just said, you know what? It's just not going to happen. And, you think highly or you think more of people, and they didn't meet that standard. And I had known them for years. Oh, wow. So I was really surprised. And I just said, well, now I know. So, but yeah, it was stressful because, you see that person every day. And the other catch to that is I did confront them about it. And they still never said, I'm sorry. They just looked at me. Oh, wow. Oh. Okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, well, I've said my piece and I'm going to keep it moving. So, yeah, people have funny ways.
So why do you think apologies are important?
Well, apologies are important because it shows a level of respect to that person. And like you said, it can also repair, the relationship, especially if the person is sincere about it. So there's something to be said when a person actually does apologize or they say, I'm sorry, because it actually shows where their moral compass is as well. So I just think those are things that are good to carry with you. And, it also helps to set, or reestablish rules and boundaries for, the friendship, if you want to continue it. And, sometimes people are like, well, you know what, I'm good. We don't have to go any further. We can stop right there. But, that's just how I feel on that.
I was thinking about it and I said, half the time I don't really even care about them because most of the time these days everybody has that sorry, not sorry attitude. So
it's dismissive.
Yes, very dismissive. So I'm just like, forget it anyway. So yeah, it just depends if there's a true relationship I have with someone, then those are important to me.
Right.
If they hurt me. But if it's just random people here or there, I mean, y'all couldn't just see what I did, but close your eyes and think about what
There's a bird in the air.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to tell them.
I'm sorry.
You weren't supposed to tell them. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to keep it 100. Yeah. That's the type of person I am. I mean, now if I don't care about you, I really don't really care for your apology.
Yeah. And you know what? That's true too, because, like you say, there's no bond there. There's no rapport that's there. And I can agree with you on that. But yeah, when you have people that you thought were going to be different, that's what different. It does. It stings.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I hate to throw Keita in this, but if Keita wants to do something to me, everybody know Keita my homegirl. And she didn't apologize, I'm probably going to show up on the porch. Cause that's
just, porch.
But that's me. Like, you got to know me. The hood of me just gonna probably come up and be like, girl, what the heck is the problem? Why you asking that for? I'm probably gonna beat on the door, and the husband probably gonna be like, why is the girl being like 5-0? Cause I need to know what's going on. Like, cause that friendship means something.
Right.
And anybody else, like I said,
yeah,
I could care less. But if there's a relationship that I value and respect, trust and believe, I need to find out what's going on. Yeah. And I should be able to come to her and tell her how I feel about a situation. Luckily, we haven't been there yet. So good. And let's keep it like it.
I was about to say, don't say yet. Hadn't been there at all.
No, we haven't. No, but that's what I'm saying. Because I got a few friendships in a minute. But I don't know. It's something, ever since we've been together since whatever grades we was in, it's like we clicked. Like, I don't know what it is about Keita.
I think we all have friends like that.
It's just the clicks. Like, I don't know, I can't explain, because usually people have best friends you've argued with. I ain't never argued with Keita. Like, I've never had an argument. Like, she's the only person I ain't never argued with.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm just keeping it 100. Like, everybody else, I done probably had an argument with you. But it's like me and her, it's just like when we get together, it just flows. Like, I don't know. It's almost like she's like my blood sister, it feels like. But now I don't argue with it. No, man, that scenario ain't gonna work. Jesus.
She's just your Keita.
I don't know. Keita, twin, where have you been? Nobody knows me like you do. Okay, I'm stopping. We ain't gonna say the body by all that stuff. But yeah, y'all get where I'm going. I told you, it's always a song that comes to mind. It is every time. I know y'all be like, girl, it's always
every
a song.
Time.
But no, seriously, I'm just keeping it 100. I don't know. We never have. And I pray to God that we never will.
Right.
But yes, I like those type of friendships where we just ourselves and it
Absolutely.
is what it is.
Yeah.
But she's not a yes chick and I'm not a yes chick around.
Right.
So don't get it twisted, y'all.
Right, yeah.
So don't be like, that's because she probably do everything.
No.
No,
I'm
no,
a
no.
witness. I'm a witness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just generally mesh and click and it just, do I want to agree with it all the time?
No. And you don't.
No, I don't. You ain't got to tell all my business.
I'm sorry.
Aquanet, you doing too much talking.
Look, excuse me.
Bring it down, son. Bring it down. Look,
I got you. Hold on.
These people going to be like, what in the world today? Y'all, I'm going to get back on track. But no, seriously, let's jump back to this. So y'all know what happens when a child takes a toy from another child, right? What do? We ask them to apologize.
That's right.
What do you do when you are at the grocery store and you accidentally bump your shopping cart into a stranger? What you do?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. You say sorry and how you did that automatically. With that said, many people struggle with that magnitude of that concept. Ain't that crazy? But you automatically do it like you said. When you hit somebody with that car, oh, I'm sorry, like because you had no intentions on doing it. And it is so crazy to me how instantly we've learned, oh, I'm sorry from a child. That is crazy to me. But they do not apologize when it's important. Instead, they often become defensive, guarded, or even combative.
Yes.
We all know people who simply refuse to say that they are sorry, even if they know they are wrong.
Guess what I don't like to hear? No harm, no foul. When I tell you no harm, no foul, that's not saying you're sorry. That doesn't even sound like you regret, you're remorseful. That just means that's your problem. You got upset. Not me.
I just want to say that. That comes off real sassy as, oh, that's your problem, not mine.
Right.
Stop whining like a,
ooh.
Right. That's how it comes off.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it really does. And that's craziness. I mean, it is. Have you ever found it hard to apologize to someone, Aquanet?
I have. And it was mainly because of embarrassment.
Okay, because I was just going to ask you what made that so difficult.
It was embarrassment. You know how sometimes you can misinterpret what your perception is. And so what usually happens is, we have to, how can I say it? We have to just make sure that, before we start responding, you and I have talked about this before, but before we respond, we have to make sure we get an understanding of what we see, because we can see things one way and the other person can assume that you see it the same way, but you really don't. Right. And so there've been, on more than several occasions, I've misinterpreted something and jumped to conclusions. So I've had to apologize because, like I said, in my younger days, you jump to conclusions and you hold that grudge. Right. And it's like you've been upset this whole time and you really didn't know what was going on. You really got the wrong perspective at that time. And another thing that I've noticed is sometimes it can be hard to apologize because some people are very territorial. And that's something that I actually had thought about in the beginning of the episode when you were talking about people are jealous or they try to dim your light. It's because they're territorial. You've exceeded their expectations and now you're at a level that they're already at and they didn't think you would meet that. So they're territorial and they will do things, even spread lies and rumors about you just to dim your light because they're territorial. And those people, to this day, I know a couple of people. They don't know I know, but I know you've been talking about me.
Yeah, I know. The streets sure been buzzing, baby.
The streets talk.
They are buzzing.
And it's very interesting that, again, those circles that we run in or run around, whatever you want to call it, those same people that used to associate themselves with the people that were trying to dim my light, they've circled around to me. They were like, you know what? I didn't think you were going to be this way. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, what I heard, I was like, you heard? Really? They were like, yeah, you're a pleasant surprise. Oh, well, look at there. So it's sad, but it happens. Yep. Now, some of those people that have done that, I don't even have no ill feelings towards them, because somewhere along the line, I was a threat, not even trying to be. I was just doing my own thing, focusing on my own journey. But they were so worried about me, they was already like trying to plant these seeds in people's heads, and they just didn't even know. So for that person, I'm not expecting an apology from them. But the old me would have been confronting, like, hey, what's the problem? What's going on? I know I got your number. You see me calling you. Like, sending them text messages. You see me texting you.
Yeah, I'm just so unbothered by the whole thing. Like, I know they talking. I know they trying to stop us, but guess what? You can't.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, what's for me is for me.
That's
and I'm
right.
going to keep rising to the top no matter what you over there doing, you and your little clique.
That's right. Yeah.
We trust and believe. I'm sitting back laughing to the bank, whether you know it or not. And if I ain't going to the bank, I'm going somewhere learning how to get to the bank.
That's right.
Let me keep it 100.
That's right.
The little stuff, like, just be like, oh, the
That's
streets
right.
be buzz, but only if y'all knew. You never want to walk in my shoes.
Man.
Because, baby,
listen,
you couldn't even walk
you couldn't do it
in what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling y'all, if you hate on me, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, it's
because I don't think I can tell you don't want these problems.
Yeah, it's their loss. That's what it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's their loss.
Because I have no ill intent for nobody.
Right.
My whole thing is
I
want to see everybody grow, learn from each other, and whatever you learn. Like I tell people all the time, if I give constructive criticism or anything that I do give, it is out of love, because I have a village that pours into me.
Right.
And when I find out if you don't want it, whatever, I skirt around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I know people think that I think I'm better, but no, I'm telling you this because I've learned something.
Yeah.
So I always say, okay, you don't want it, don't say. You can stay in the same position. Y'all keep over there, stay in that little corner throwing them tomatoes. Because, baby, while y'all throwing it, I'm riding on that cherry, getting to the next level. It's and like a game. Y'all over there playing, and I'm just rising to the next level because I'm focused on myself.
This is true.
I could go address it, but it's like, why?
And that's what I was just about to say. Like, once you reach a level of maturity where you understand you and your purpose and the direction you're going in, other people don't even matter.
Right.
So whoever is doing the whole territorial thing, well, I'm going to talk bad about them because I see them as a threat, but I don't want people to see them, as an equal to me. Guess what? I'm not equal because I'm in my own lane.
Right.
And you're in your own lane. So even if it does look like I'm succeeding and you're succeeding, what's wrong with us both succeeding?
Right.
I don't understand that. Right.
But the question poses, when the person is going and doing all the talking, what is being said in between to make that person understand that, hey, she over here doing her thing or whatever. Why are you so concerned? Why is that a threat? Like, does that make sense? Why is it a threat? Exactly. If it's brought up, it's like, well, why is it a threat? Why are you not focusing on you? Because sometimes you have to educate that person. Like, if you're more focused on you, how you know so much of what X, Y, and Z is doing? Yeah. But it's okay to see it because, like I said, we put it on Front Tree. So, of course, you're going to see somebody's success. But, like, when it's that envy and that jealousy, that's a whole nother level.
It is.
But when it's that benign, like I talked about,
that's
a good kind. You want to be like, yeah, girl, because I can learn from her. And girl, what's her telephone number?
But that's the thing.
Ask her about that.
You're absolutely right. But that's something that I've learned also. Like, for whatever reason, it is so competitive to where people want to hold on to what it is they've learned. They want to hold on to their secrets. They don't want to actually, they don't want to answer the call. Like I've talked to people at different networking events, things like that over the years. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's amazing. This looks great. Yeah, well, this is my number. They'll give you their number and everything, and you will get nobody. And I mean, I know there's other people that have gone through that as well, but in the beginning, like I said, when I was younger, that used to hurt me. And I'm like, why are they lying to me? I was taking it so personal. And then I just kind of realized, you know what? Everybody's not like you, Aquanet. If somebody wants to know a recipe or how I make something, I tell them. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Right.
Because I know what I'm doing is going to have my style, my flair on it.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong if you take it and put your own spin on it.
Somebody said I was gatekeeping with the podcast. I said, who me? I'm still trying to perfect this and get this right. I just tell you stuff like people say, hey, I asked you how to, I don't know. Like, I keep it 100. You come up here and sit with me. I tell people all the time, every time there's probably an issue getting this together. And like, if anybody knows me, if you've asked me, I say the same line until I get it perfect. I'm like, I really don't know what to share with you other than hard work, commitment, unless you're trying to do gossip. Is what I tell them. Because, and I say the same thing to everybody because it is what it is. Right. But I say, I don't have it all. They be like, well, teach me what you, all I can tell you right now is that I'm still a work in progress with this. Right. I've been in, it's been a year technically. Okay. Yeah, it's been actually a year because Spotify told me about 2 weeks ago I just didn't post because that's what said. Well, let me tell you this. I do congratulate myself privately sometimes on my milestones because I saw it. Spotify informed me, yes, and it told me how well I was doing. But like I said, those are statistics on what I'm doing, but I still feel like I have a ways to go. I don't think that I'm not going to say like I'm a perfectionist or anything, but if you're really sincerely asking me for help, I'm like, I don't know, because I'm really, like, I don't even really know how to work the board. Like, if y'all come up here, it's literally every week we're piecing this together. And when I get it perfected, baby, I'm going to have a whole manual for you. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if you're ready yet, but I got it, girl. Yeah. I would never gatekeep. Like, I tell you, if you ask me, go ask somebody else if they ask me. Y'all, I bet y'all can say, yep, she gave me the same answer. That's not gatekeep. I just want to keep it real with you. I'm not going to say I know how to do something when I don't.
Right. You're still learning.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have y'all big mad in these streets at me. She told me, and no, why would I do that? See, I'm still learning. When I get it down and I get a manual and get it together, I'll be like, hey, girl, here, I email it to you and say, this is what we do. Right, but right now,
share the knowledge.
I can't really share other than the
you can share
stuff.
That you're learning.
Yeah, and I share that I'm learning. And I ask you, what would you like to do? Just make sure that you know what type of podcast you would like to do in your format. Stuff like that I can give you. Yeah. Because like I tell them, I don't do gossip. So to me, I feel like what we do, talk show style podcast, for me, it takes me a little more time to get the episodes. Then, of course, y'all know I got 1,500 other more jobs. But, I could get on here and do some gossip. And it'll probably take me, that'll take me about, no preparation, really, because I can just go off the top of my head and just talk about. But I try to make sure that I'm coming with some nuggets for you all. Right. So, yeah, enough about that. But, yeah, going back to that question, I tend to think that people do find it hard to apologize. Mainly, like you said before, they're embarrassed. Just that they're embarrassed, or just acknowledging that they're wrong makes them seem or feel flawed.
Yeah, and we have to normalize it's okay to be flawed because we all are. Yes, even millionaires are flawed. I mean, even the most popular people are flawed, and we just have to realize that it's okay. Like, I think that's another thing that we've talked about before. You just said it. Being a perfectionist. That's something, we may need to save that for. You're a perfectionist. I'm not. I used to be. I used to be. I used to be a huge people pleaser, which meant I had to be perfect for everybody. So, but no, not anymore. I just think that sometimes that's another, it's a normal flaw, I guess what I'm trying to say. To be embarrassed, to be ashamed, because you're human. Right. I mean, we do make mistakes. And like I said, even the most popular or even the most, wealthiest person out there, they have flaws too. Right. So, embrace your imperfections and let's keep it going.
What you said. This now poses a question of what should an apology look like and what should it not look like? Because I believe in an ideal world, everyone that causes harm to another, either intentionally or unintentionally, would immediately offer up a genuine apology. Notice I said genuine. Accepting responsibility, acknowledging the pain, expressing empathy and remorse. Immediately changing the behavior that they once displayed. I'm gonna stop right there. Because we talked about it earlier. You notice I said immediately. And sometimes we get lost in, because somebody gives us an apology, we want to see them change overnight.
It doesn't happen. And
I know when I was doing this episode, and I put that in there for a purpose, because I wanted to address that. Sometimes we feel like, oh, they apologize, but they still doing the same thing. Sometimes if your character you've been doing something that's a little, I'm gonna say flawed. You know, you've been doing some actions that are a little flawed. You don't really recognize. You recognize it enough to make the apology,
Right.
but at the same time, you're stuck in your habits that it may cause you to hurt that person again. Does that make sense?
It does.
So that's why I put that word immediately, because I wanted to catch y'all's attention on that. Because as humans, we think people are supposed to change like this overnight.
do.
It does not happen like
No.
that. So we do have to be a little cautious of that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we are aware of that. Like I said, it rarely is going to happen that way. So we just keep positive mind. Like I said, don't hold those grudges because it just won't. I want to also talk about what I thought about apologizing is something that we are taught to do from time to time when we are incredibly young. And often it is thought of as a pill to swallow, like one of those hard pills to swallow, rather than an opportunity to make meaningful changes in our relationships.
Right.
So as adults, we carry some of the same negative associations or bad habits with apologizing that we picked up on the playground. And in fact, some of us make a point to never apologize at all. Who raised you? Just out here, just acting any kind of old way.
Well, like you said, some of it is habitual. So sometimes, I'm trying to think of an example. Like as children, what we recognize is, oh, we've done something wrong. I need to apologize.
Right.
And so if we take that same type of behavior into adults, people will be like, well, this is how I am. I'm not going to keep apologizing. You know what I'm saying? So I guess at that point, I just feel like it's something that, like you said, we have to actually understand like what the apology is for. It's not, it's not for you to just be not out of habit and say like, oh, even the look on somebody's face, like, oh, I need to apologize because I've done something. You know, dig deeper, you know, ask them, so what did I do?
Right.
And what can is there anything that'll make you feel more comfortable? Especially if you know yourself and you know, like, well, you know, this is something I've been doing forever. Right. I mean, like, it affects you. And I've been in situations where something I may say or something that I do, you know, it may bother people. But at the same time, like, you have to know, like, who you're dealing with. I guess that's the other thing. So at some point, I actually had to say, well, you know what? This is something I've done my whole life. Whether I was all the 30 years or 40 years or whatever I said at that time. Is there anything I can do that can like help you, especially if you know you got to be around that person? Right. Or like you said before, that you value that relationship, because I don't like to see people hurting because I know what it's like. At the same time, it does take work to rebuild after, you know, that person has kind of like, I don't want to say they've lost trust, but they're not comfortable anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, those are, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, you're fine. Because, you know, as I've gotten older, I have discovered that an apology is not a time to try to yet again make your point or justify your behavior or imply that the other person deserved it.
Wait a minute. Say that again, to make your point. I like that part. To make your point.
I have discovered that an apology is not a time to try for you to try to get that point across. It's not that time to justify your behavior.
And that goes back to when you were saying, did you say what is the right way to apologize? Or
yes.
So that actually takes us to the wrong way to apologize.
That's what that's where I was going with this, and I was going to say that's actually the wrong way. Right. Nobody wants to hear that.
Right, and you can always tell when somebody is ready to apologize and they want to justify, because they'll say but, and then they'll go into why they think, like you say, that person deserved it or this is what made them do it.
Right.
The receiving person doesn't want to hear any of that.
What you said. Because over time, I have also discovered that a genuine apology takes ownership of the negative effect that your behavior had on someone else. It's like a full stop.
Yeah.
When you, you know, you just gotta think about it.
Yeah.
When you add but, that's where I was going with this. When you add but, I was just trying to. We were thinking alike on that. So an apology, it sounds like you are not sorry at all, but rather that you are simply looking to reopen a discussion.
Wow.
That justifies why you did what you did, and try your case in front of a judge and a jury.
Ooh.
Let me hear y'all say, listen, Linda, listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda, listen, Linda.
Stop making it about you and consider the hurt you are causing some people.
Right, yeah.
Now, Aquanette, I cannot recall a course or any type of teaching when I was coming up where we were taught how to effectively communicate being sincerely sorry for our mishaps. I can only recall being told to say I was sorry when I was told to do something, like we talked about earlier, from upbringing as a child, or like when we took something from someone's belongings or whatever. Do you recall being how to talk that? Because I just say no. The answer is no. But I mean, I don't know how you was raised, but I just remember just saying sorry, like it was no effective communicating that.
So I had this same conversation with another person, and I actually did. So I went to a school where the teachers were very much on like how you treat people. And I guess you would compare it to like a Montessori school now, but it was just our regular school. So we were taught, what's the word? Couth and tact and, what's another word? Manners.
Manners.
We actually were taught that. I remember being in like 3rd and 4th grade, and people, the kids would get upset about certain things, but the teachers would always say, "And what are you sorry for?" Like they would always back that up.
Right.
So it wasn't just like, say you're sorry, then we move on. But again, everybody's background is different. But in elementary school, I remember that. I don't know if anybody else from my elementary school remembers it, but I do remember seeing that. And I was just like, oh, okay. So we always have to say that. So it's just different.
Yeah. Sometimes forgiveness might be far-fetched for some when others hurt us. But if we can learn to accept an apology we never got, we would rise as winners. Sometimes we must accept that people do not or cannot apologize, not because we are not worthy of the apology, but because they feel they are not worthy of our forgiveness.
Ooh.
Sometimes they are right. However, the healing often starts when you choose to forgive them anyway. The beauty of forgiveness is that you can give it to someone without their permission. Did y'all know that? You can give
you
forgiveness
sure can.
without the other person's permission. Forgiveness is a powerful thing if you just let it happen and sincerely, truly indulge yourself in it. Like, that's deep when you just think about it. It sets you free of the foolishness. Because you just be like, you got to say, I forgive. It's almost like when we say, I need my peace. You come to center yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
you
want to
know
that passes all understanding.
Every single time. And you want to know something that's even more beautiful? When you forgive that person and 10 years later, they apologize. I've had that happen too. And even though you just accepted things the way they were and just moved on, and you really never thought you'd see that person, hear that person again, but who would have thought I would have ran into somebody at Target that really hurt me like years prior? And it's just like, now I had some good memories with that person also. But at the same time, for them to say, you know what, I was going through a lot back then, and I really am sorry how I treated you. You didn't deserve any of that. Wait, what? Where is this? And if I never see the person again, I'm good. But even receiving that apology after I did choose to forgive, because it is a choice. Let's remember that part.
Right.
After I did choose to forgive, it's like it gave me even more of a boost. Because it was like, okay, all right. Everybody's not horrible in this world after all. Right. So, it can be a really good thing too. And I do feel like, once you consciously get to a point, like you say, where you want to have that peace, it always starts with forgiveness. So even if it's yourself first.
You're right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to ask you this. I often hear people say that the apology is for the person that caused the hurt versus the person who the hurt was inflicted upon.
Mm-hmm.
When the one that inflicted the pain refuses to apologize. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? All full transparency.
Mm-hmm.
My therapist has said the same thing, and I'm still like, if you say so. Because I can see it both ways. I can see, I can see how the person that is apologizing, they need to get that off of their chest because of the guilt.
Right.
You know, we get it, the guilt. And then, I mean, I don't want to waller in the pleasure of their guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, okay, yeah, I forgive them. But like you also said, I don't have to let them know that I forgave them.
Right.
They're doing their part. I'm doing my part. If they want to work on or choose to rebuild the relationship, it's still up to the receiver to do that.
Right.
And I think that's something that the person that's doing the apology, that's just something that they may have to kind of, you know, deal with or, you know, work on themselves so, you know, they don't have to apologize for the same thing again.
Yep. I think we should ask ourselves, what are we looking for from the apology? Do we want to hear the words from the persons that's giving the apology? Do we just want to hear the words, I'm sorry?
Not just, I don't know
Right.
about nobody else, but I don't.
Or do we want to understand the behavior like we talked about earlier? These are questions you have to ask yourself. You know, are you going to hold a grudge about it?
Right, yeah.
I think if we truly reflect on these things, it will bring clarity to us on whether you feel sorry for what you want to hear from the person. Because see, sometimes we say we want somebody to say they sorry. What's the first thing we say? We don't use the word apologize. You always say, I want somebody to say they sorry. So they said it. They said, sorry.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really spoke that into us. You said, I want them to say. Then you're like, no, that's not what I meant. So you really have to be careful about what you're asking for.
Right, yeah.
Make it clear. And then when you have that person in your presence, to make it clear on what your expectation is. It's like sometimes we have these big expectations of what the apology should look like, but at the end of the day, it's maybe not going to be what you think it's going to be, because that person's not going to say it like you said it. Somebody's going to probably throw a butt in there.
Or no harm, no foul.
But are you willing to accept it? I mean, that's basically what I'm alluding to at this point.
Right.
Are you going to accept it?
Again, and that is up to the person receiving it.
Right.
And that's the person's right. I don't accept no harm, no foul. Somebody else might.
Like we said, the beauty of forgiveness is that you can give it to someone without their permission.
This is true. Yep. And I forgive them, but I don't accept the apology. Does that make sense?
Do you have any closing remarks before we wrap this episode up?
I would say the only closing remarks that I have is just be sincere whenever we are giving apologies, and the person that's receiving it, hopefully you have an open mind to receive it. And if you don't, you know, that's okay. But also just be grateful that the person did try to apologize, because some people won't say anything to you at all. That's it.
That's it. All right. I just want to say, y'all stop being so big, mad, and pressed. Stay in your lane and do what you do. Thank you again, Aquanet, for being my co-host on the I Am Kiana Scales podcast.
My pleasure.
Real talk. Apologizing is a sign of maturity and growth. It can be challenging to apologize when you have done something wrong. Your apology does not have to be perfect, but it should make the person you apologize to feel like they are being heard and acknowledged.